Hello everyone and welcome back to another Star Wars The Black Series action figure review. Moving on through the prequel trilogy brings us to Star Wars Episode 2 Attack of the Clones today, and I'm absolutely gushing over this figure if I'm being honest with you, as it is, in my opinion at least, the absolute definitive rendition of the Phase 1 clone trooper that Hasbro have released in any scale. They're absolutely knocking it out of the park with some of these recent releases, and this one is no exception. I don't feel like it's an exaggeration to say that it's perfect. Proportions, sculpted detail, articulation, posability, accessories. This figure's got it all. It's definitive. It's perfect. You need it. You need 2, 3, 4. Go out and buy this figure is what I'm saying. That can't be stressed enough. At the time of recording, this Black Series Clone Trooper is available to pre-order via Star Action Figures, and the link below in the video description will take you there to grab one for yourself. Now, before we dive into this absolutely fantastic figure, once again a huge thanks goes out to Hasbro UK for providing it for a review, and before we dive into the figure itself, let's take a look at that all-important packaging. So once again, we do get standard Black Series packaging with this figure. As you can see at the top, you've got the Black Series logo, and then around the edges of the box, you've got this red trim indicating the figure is from Attack of the Clones. Down the side of the box, you've got this really nice image of the Clone Trooper in action, with what I'm assuming is Geonosis in the background there. And then on the reverse side of the box, you've got the number in the series. You've got that image once again, accompanied by a brief description of the character. So like I said, pretty standard stuff. Again, that mural image looks fantastic, so if you're one of those collectors that likes to display those on your shelf, this is going to look great. But yeah, in terms of packaging, pretty standard stuff. Again, once you've seen one Black Series box, you've pretty much seen them all. So without further ado, let's dive into this review and take a look at the awesome Phase 1 Clone Trooper. So here are the Phase 1 Clone Troopers in all their glory, and these figures really do take me right back to 2002 and the excitement that came with the release of Attack of the Clones in theatres. I was so excited to see Clone Troopers in action, and owning this figure, posing it, playing with it, brings it back all those feelings, you know. Since the release of Revenge of the Sith, I've always been more of a Phase 2 fan than Phase 1, but this figure really makes me love the Phase 1 look that little bit more. It also takes me back to the days of playing the original Star Wars Battlefront on the PlayStation 2 and running around the planets of Kamino, Renvar and many more, blasting battle droids and capturing command posts. We did receive a new Phase 1 Clone Trooper in the Black Series back in 2021, which was the first to be released that was based on an entirely new sculpt, at least since 2013. While that figure was an improvement over the original, there's absolutely no comparison between it and 2024's version. As said at the start of this review, this is, in my opinion at least, the definitive Clone Trooper, and it improves upon improvement tenfold. If we take, for example, we'll have a look at this figure here with the helmet on. The helmet itself is absolutely phenomenal. It looks far better than both the 2013 and 2021 rendition. It's beautifully sculpted, is possibly the most screen accurate Phase 1 helmet we've seen in action figure form, and most importantly, it doesn't feel pinched toward the bottom as the previous versions did. It's also removable, as you can see, with a rather fantastic Tim Morrison head sculpt underneath, which we'll take a look at in just a little bit. But like I said, the rest of the figure is just a really nice upgrade overall, and comes with many different modifications. The first of which, for starters, is the chest armor, which is now a completely separate overlay as opposed to a solid sculpt. So if you think to the Mandalorian Stormtrooper, for example, it's now a separate piece which is slotted over the body, which really helps, in my opinion at least, the proportionally accurate nature of the figure. It looks a lot more like a human in a suit rather than an action figure, which is really good. The shoulder pads are now attached as well separately around the shoulder joint instead of being sculpted to the arms, which again allows for free-flowing movement, doesn't hinder articulation, and the same can be said for the knee pads as well, which are now completely separate and independent of the legs, which is fantastic. Like I said, all these little details and upgrades really go a long way to assist in the articulation and posability departments, but just from an aesthetic point of view, this figure looks absolutely phenomenal. As I mentioned, the helmet can be removed, and for the sake of not having to pop one off in the review, here is a better look at that clone head sculpt underneath. I do believe this is the same head that's been included on figures such as ARC Trooper 5s and ARC Trooper Echo, but they're clones, so they need to all look the same, so I've got absolutely no issues with them recycling this for this figure. It looks really, really nice. The likeness and photo reel absolutely captures Tim Morrison's look bang on. And he's even got a few scars and scratches around his face as well, which is really nice to see. So absolutely phenomenal head sculpt, absolutely awesome helmet sculpt, and just an overall fantastic sculpt with regards to the figure. Now in terms of articulation, he is absolutely packed to the brim. We do of course have a ball joint at the head. As always, we've got a ball joint in the base of the head and the bottom of the neck. So again, free flowing, realistic movement there. We've got hinges at the shoulders, as well as butterfly joints, which aren't hindered by the shoulder joints, or the shoulder plates rather, anymore, which is awesome to see. We also have hinges at the elbows, hinges at the wrists, a ball joint at the torso, which once again isn't hindered by that chest armour. Now it's an independent piece. We also have hinges at the hips, a swivel cut at the upper thigh, which is nice to see considering this seems to be being relegated from more recent figures. We also have hinges at the knees and hinges and rockers at the ankle. So great articulation throughout this figure, really, really well done. And again, he looks great, he poses really well, and I'm just absolutely in awe of this figure. It looks incredible. Now in terms of accessories, as I said, he does come with the removable helmet, but he also features a DC-15 rifle, which, as normal and is to be expected, is really nicely sculpted, but lacks any real paint applications, but it's not a major issue for me really. As you can see from those modifications that have been made to the figure, the articulation allows him to hold it really, really well, and he looks so cool in action. Really, really nice. Again, you've got all those appropriate sculpted details on the belt, the back plate there. Really, really cool looking indeed. And he also does come, of course, if we take Clone Trooper number 2 over here, with a DC-15 carbine as well, which again lacks any paint but does look really nice in terms of sculpt. Now what's also really nice about this figure is the fact that it features, for the first time ever I believe, and something that, oh god, we've been crying out for so long, it features 2 trigger fingers, one on each hand, which means he can hold both weapons in both hands at the same time. That is fantastic and such a welcome addition to this figure. I don't know how long it's been that we've been crying out for Hasbro to include 2 trigger fingers on clone troopers and troopers in general, so to finally see that is a really, really welcome addition. Like I said, Hasbro have just done an amazing job with this figure. It looks phenomenal, and you're really going to want to pick this one up for yourself. So that's going to wrap up this review on the brand new and improved Phase 1 Clone Trooper. Once again, in my opinion, an absolutely outstanding release. If this is the first time that you're going to pick up a Clone Trooper in the Black Series, you've been blessed, because the first one was not very good, if I'm being honest, the 2013 version. The 2021 upgrade, while I don't have it myself, by all accounts needed some improvement. This is perfection. I'm so happy with it, and Hasbro once again have done an incredible job. If I'm going to say one negative thing about it, it's the fact that the rifles don't have any paint applications, and for once it'd be really nice to see a little bit of weathering on these clones as opposed to them being shiny and new. But that is not a detriment to this figure whatsoever. Like I said, sculpt wise it's fantastic, articulation is superb, proportions are perfectly captured, and it is, in my opinion, as I mentioned, the definitive Clone Trooper, at least Phase 1 Clone Trooper, that's been released in any scale. Stick a Phase 2 helmet on this thing and you've got absolute perfection, in my opinion. I'm pretty sure they've already done that now I come to think of it, but there we go. Yeah, like I said, awesome figure, highly recommended, And if you're planning on picking up that droidica that I reviewed for you recently, they're going to need some target practice, so grab some of these while you can. Definitely recommend getting more than one. So as always, thank you for tuning into this review, guys. I'll be back with some more very soon. As always, links down below in the video description if you want to purchase one of these figures for yourself. And another huge thanks goes out to Hasbro for making this recent batch of reviews possible. And I'll be back with many more very soon. Until then, as always, thank you for watching, keep collecting, and may the Force be with you.